The house feels too quiet now. I sit in my living room, the same chair Marian used to joke was mine by ancient right, and stare at the framed photo on the mantel. 1985. We're both grinning like fools outside our first proper house, her arm looped through mine. That was the year she made the bet. "Gordon," she'd said, laughing as we unpacked boxes in the kitchen, "if you put up with me for 40 years, I'll give you something impossible." Before we continue, we ask you to hit the hype button, subscribe, and like the video to help the channel grow. Tell us which city you are from in the comments. We would like to get to know our audience better. I'd kissed her forehead and told her nothing about her was impossible. We never mentioned it again. Life got busy, raising Caroline and Louis, working long hours on construction sites, checking calculations at the dining table while she graded papers. 40 years passed like water through open fingers. She left us in late September 2024. Exactly 40 years. The memorial was 3 weeks ago. I'd wanted something small, just family, and a few close friends at the community center. I'd chosen her favorite hymn, the one she hummed while cooking Sunday dinners. But Caroline took over the planning. "Dad shouldn't handle all these details," she'd announced to the service coordinator, her voice bright and efficient. "He's exhausted. Let me manage this." She changed the hymn to something lighter, for the guests. When I tried to give my speech about Marian's 40 years of teaching, Caroline gently took the microphone after 2 minutes. "Dad gets emotional," she'd whispered to the crowd with a sympathetic smile. "We all understand." The guests had nodded. Poor Gordon, can't even finish a sentence anymore. This morning, Caroline and her husband Trevor are in my kitchen again. They've been coming by every few days since the memorial, always with folders and printouts. "We found a financial advisor who specializes in senior transitions," Trevor says, spreading papers across the table. "Very reasonable rates." "I manage fine on my own," I say quietly. "Dad." Caroline's voice has that patient, talking to a child quality. "You're 64. Mom handled most of the bills, didn't she? We just want to make sure nothing falls through the cracks." Louis sits on the counter, scrolling his phone. My younger son hasn't looked up since they arrived. "There's also the matter of this house," Trevor continues. "Big place for one person. We've been thinking you might be happier in something smaller, closer to us." "I like my house." "Of course you do. But think practically. What if you fall? What if something breaks? We worry, Dad." The doorbell interrupts us. It's Alan Kerr, our family solicitor. "Ah, Gordon, good morning." Alan nods at the others. "Caroline, Trevor, Louis. I wasn't expecting a crowd, but perhaps it's appropriate. Shall we?" Alan's office is a 10-minute drive. We file into the small meeting room, and Alan opens a slim folder. "Marian's will is straightforward," he begins. "The house and primary accounts go to Gordon, with provisions for the children after his passing. Standard arrangements." Caroline and Trevor exchange a look. However, Alan reaches into his desk drawer. "Marian left something separate. Gordon, this is for you alone." He places a heavy iron key on the table. Beside it, a folded piece of paper with an address written in Marian's careful handwriting and a sealed envelope with my name. My hands shake as I open the letter. "My dearest Gordon, you won the bet. 40 years, and you never complained once. Not when I was difficult, not when money was tight, not when the children tested every boundary. You were loyal when loyalty mattered. The address is in Scotland, a place I prepared for you. Go alone. Don't trust anyone, not even our own children. I know how that sounds. You'll understand when you get there. You always thought I was the strong one. Time to see yourself clearly. All my love, Marian." The room is silent. Caroline's face has gone pale, then red. "That's..." She laughs, sharp and brittle. "That's dramatic, isn't it? Mum was always theatrical. What does she mean? Don't trust us? That's absurd." "A house in Scotland?" Trevor leans forward. "What kind of property? What's the value?" I cannot share those details, Alan says calmly. Marian was very specific about privacy. This is ridiculous. Caroline turns to me. Dad, you're not seriously going to listen to some paranoid note. We're your children. We should all go together, see this place, figure out what to do with it. Marian said alone, I manage. Marian wasn't thinking clearly at the end, Trevor says. We need to be practical about family assets. Family assets? I echo. Well, yes. Eventually everything comes to us anyway, right? Might as well handle it together now, make sure nothing gets mismanaged. Alan closes his folder. Gordon has full authority here. Marian prepared this for a long time. I suggest respecting her wishes. We leave in separate cars. In mine, I sit for a moment before starting the engine, reading the letter again. Don't trust anyone, not even our own children. My phone buzzes. A screenshot from Lewis, sent to the family group chat by accident, or maybe not by accident. Caroline's message. The Scottish place is our future base. I'll make sure Dad doesn't mess it up again. Trevor's reply. He can barely work his phone. This'll be easy. I put the phone face down on the passenger seat. The key feels heavy and cold in my palm. I don't go straight home. Instead, I drive to the little park where Marian and I used to walk on Sundays. I sit on her favorite bench under the oak and open the old photo box I took from the house. There we are in 1985, Marian pregnant with Caroline, me in dusty work boots, both of us laughing. The same week we'd made that strange promise at dinner. 40 years. Something impossible. I promise, she'd said. I hadn't understood what she meant. Photo after photo. Caroline serious even at 5, Lewis forever trailing after her. Marian guiding them, firm but gentle. Children need boundaries, she used to say. If we don't teach them respect now, someone else will later. She had always seen farther than I could. I close the box, drive home, and find Caroline and Trevor waiting on my front step, impatient. Where were you? Caroline demands. Out. Inside, Trevor opens my fridge like he lives here. You're low on groceries. We should set up a delivery service. I shop fine. Caroline sits at the table. Dad, we need to talk about Scotland. Mum's house. You can't manage that alone. There are legal issues, costs, responsibilities. Marian told me to go alone. Mum wasn't well, she snaps, catching herself. I just mean her judgment toward the end. Your mother was sharp to the last day. Trevor jumps in. Scams happen. Even solicitors can be fooled. We should all go together next week, inspect the property, make a plan. As a family. A plan for what? To decide whether to keep it, sell it, whatever maximizes value. Value. Of course. A knock interrupts us. My neighbor, Mrs. Peterman, steps in holding a casserole. She freezes, seeing the tension. We're helping Dad organize things, Caroline says smoothly. He's been fragile. Mrs. Peterman gives her a long look. Gordon's always seemed capable to me. When she leaves, Caroline and Trevor exchange a frustrated glance, as if the script hasn't gone quite right. That night, alone, I reread Marian's letter. Don't trust anyone, not even our own children. The words land differently now. I look at Marian's old wall calendar. Next Tuesday is circled in Caroline's handwriting. Review Dad's accounts. A small $sign underneath. I take a photo of the calendar, sit on the edge of the bed, and open my notebook, the plain one I usually use for errands. I start a new page. Things my children have said. Dad can't handle details anymore. We need to help him before he does something stupid. Family assets should be managed together. He's fragile, he needs supervision. The list grows faster than I expect. At some point, my hand cramps. I put down the pen and lie awake in the dim room, Marian's letter on the nightstand, the house silent around me. Trust and respect, I realize, are not the same thing. And somewhere along the way, they stopped giving me either. Tuesday morning, Caroline and Trevor arrive early. Too early. Trevor's carrying a laptop bag, and Caroline has a 3-ring binder. "We made a travel plan," Caroline announces, setting the binder on my kitchen table. The cover reads, "Scotland Property Assessment, Family Action Plan." Inside are printed maps, hotel bookings, and a day-by-day schedule. "We leave Thursday. Lewis is coming too. We've already booked the rental car and accommodations. It's all arranged." I take a slow breath. "I'm going alone." "Don't be stubborn." Trevor opens his laptop. "Look, we've researched the area. There are property management companies, real estate agents. We can get valuations, discuss options." Marian said alone. "Dad, please." Caroline's patient voice again. "Mum wasn't trying to cut us out. She was just being sentimental. She'd want us to work together on this. She wrote it clearly. She wrote it while grieving, while sick." Caroline's composure cracks. "You're being selfish. This affects all of us. That property is part of our family's future." "Your future?" "Our collective future. We're not trying to take anything from you. We're trying to help." I close the binder gently. "I appreciate the planning, but I'm following Marian's instructions. I'll go first, alone. If I need help after, I'll ask." Trevor's jaw tightens. "This is ridiculous. You're trusting a piece of paper over your own children." "I'm trusting my wife." After they leave, Caroline barely hiding her anger, Trevor muttering about wasted effort, I call Alan Kerr. "Gordon, what can I do for you?" "The Scottish house. Do I have the right to visit alone, without my children?" A pause. "Marian's arrangements are legally binding. The property is connected to her personal planning, and you have full authority to inspect it, manage it, or make decisions regarding it. Your children have no current legal claim or access. They're saying I'm being unfair." "Gordon." Alan's voice is kind but firm. "Marian spent 2 years setting this up. She consulted multiple solicitors, including colleagues in Scotland. She was very deliberate, very careful. She knew exactly what she was doing. She really thought they might. She prepared for many possibilities. I suggest you follow her guidance." I book a train ticket for Wednesday morning. When I tell the family via text message, Caroline's response is immediate. A phone call. "This is unacceptable. We're coming anyway. We'll meet you there." "Please don't. You can't stop us. It's a free country." I end the call. Over the next few hours, my phone explodes with messages. Caroline saying I'm being irrational. Trevor talking about family unity. Lewis finally chiming in with, "Dad, why are you making this complicated?" On the train Wednesday, I silence my phone and watch the English countryside blur past. The motion is soothing. I haven't traveled alone like this in years. At a station cafe during a connection, I buy tea and sit by the window. My phone shows 23 unread messages. I open them one by one. "Caroline, if you sign anything without consulting us, we'll have serious concerns about your judgment." Trevor, "We've spoken to a lawyer. If you're making erratic decisions, we have options." Lewis, "Why won't you just let us help?" And then, a screenshot from Lewis, sent to me by mistake, clearly meant for someone else. It's the family group chat. Trevor's message reads, "If Gordon signs anything weird in Scotland, we'll have him checked out by a doctor. We can control his decisions for his own good." Caroline's reply, "Let's hope it doesn't come to that. But yes, we have the option." I stare at the screen until the tea goes cold. Then I screenshot everything and save it to 3 different places: phone storage, email drafts, and a cloud backup Marian set up years ago that the children don't know about. In my notebook, I add, "They are planning to declare me incompetent if I don't obey." That evening, I reach a small guest house near the Scottish village. The owner, a friendly woman named Moira, shows me to a comfortable room overlooking dark hills. "Here for long?" she asks. "Just checking on a property." "Ah, the old Hale place? Your wife's?" I blink. "You knew Marian?" Saw her a few times over the years. Lovely woman. Always said she was fixing something up for someone special. After Moira leaves, I sit on the bed and open Marian's letter again. The paper is soft from repeated folding and unfolding. You were loyal when loyalty mattered. I think about loyalty. About 40 years of small choices, staying patient when Caroline was difficult, helping Louis through his anxieties, working extra hours to pay for their universities, never complaining when they forgot my birthday, but expected elaborate celebrations for theirs. I think about Marian, watching it all, seeing patterns I missed. Time to see yourself clearly. My phone buzzes. Another message from Caroline. We're very disappointed in you. I don't reply. Instead, I open my notebook and write down a simple plan. Tomorrow I'll visit the house. I'll understand what Marian prepared, and I'll decide what comes next. Not them, me. The Scottish house sits at the end of a narrow lane, solid granite under a slate roof, bigger and more deliberate than anything I imagined. Inside, everything smells of lemon polish and old wood, clean, prepared, waiting. I walk through slowly. The sitting room furniture is covered in sheets. The kitchen is updated, practical. Upstairs, 3 bedrooms. And at the end of the hall, a heavier door. A study. Inside, a desk, shelves, and an entire wall of photos. 40 years of Marian and me, the children growing up, moments I'd forgotten. But also things I'd never seen. Maps of the village, blueprints, legal diagrams in Marian's handwriting. A pinboard shows names circled, Alan Kerr, Nadia Price, Fraser McLeod, and dates linked to the property and something marked trust conditions. In the desk, a locked drawer. One of Alan's keys opens it. File folders, property records, account structures, instructions, open only if required. I don't open them yet. But I finally understand. Marian built this plan long before she got sick, trying, quietly, to protect me. My phone rings, Caroline again. I silence it. I take the framed photo from the desk. Marian whispering to me at Louis's graduation. Stop worrying about whether they're proud of you. Worry about whether you're proud of them. Later, I find Fraser McLeod's office above a bakery. He greets me calmly. Your wife was exceptionally thorough, he says. Her arrangements were designed to protect your decisions from pressure, especially from family members who might prioritize their own interests. Can my children challenge it? They can try, but the structure is strong, and certain actions on their part would trigger automatic consequences. What kind? The kind that encourage respect. That night at the village pub, I meet Iona, who'd been checking on the house. She came alone more than once, Iona says. Told me you were too kind, and the children forgot who built everything. Said you'd need this place when they forgot harder. It hits deeper than I expect. Back at the guest house, I finally check my phone. 17 messages. Caroline and Trevor, increasingly frantic. Dad, are you ignoring us? We know you're in Scotland. Tell us where. You're worrying everyone. Louis, too. Please call. Then my doorbell camera alerts. I open the live feed. Caroline and Trevor are in my house, inside, using the spare key, walking through my study, opening drawers, photographing documents on my desk. They don't look worried. They look determined. I save the recording. Then I open my notebook, the one Marian teased me about for being too meticulous, and add a new line beneath the others. They've already started treating my life as something they own. I look around the quiet Scottish room. Marian's house, Marian's safeguard. For the first time, I know exactly why she built it, and exactly what I need to do next. Chapter 5. Morning at the guest house. I skip breakfast and drive to the nearest town, to a small bank branch on a quiet street. Inside, I ask to review any accounts held in my name. The representative, Callum, checks the system. Mr. Hale, several accounts list you as sole authority. Your wife set activation conditions years ago. What kind of conditions? I don't see full details, but they reference trusts and specific dates. I can initiate a formal review. May take a few days. Do it. There are also standing instructions awaiting your approval. He prints a single page. Clear directives on transfers and property management, requiring only my signature. Marian's signature sits beside the original date, 3 years ago. At Fraser McLeod's office, I ask the question I've been circling. If my children challenge this, what then? Fraser opens a file. Your wife anticipated that. If anyone tries to declare you incompetent without 2 independent medical evaluations, they're automatically removed as beneficiaries. Removed entirely? Yes. Marian structured the trust to adjust based on behavior, and she gave you authority to make those adjustments, no one else. And if they push anyway, then they simply lose. The framework defends itself. I exhale slowly. She planned every inch of this. Mr. Hale, Fraser says gently, your wife spent 2 years consulting specialists. She built a system designed to withstand pressure, especially from family. Back at the Scottish house, I walk room to room again. The drawing room catches my attention. Large table, 8 chairs, quiet gravitas. A place meant for decisions. I take photos, measure the table, note the seating. Yes, this is where it should happen. At Marian's desk, I open the family group chat and type, I'm inviting everyone to the Scottish house next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Fraser McLeod will be present, with Alan Kerr and Nadia Price joining by video. All questions about Marian's arrangements will be answered then. Please confirm attendance. The replies come fast. Caroline, finally, we'll be there. Trevor, good. We need to address property management. Lewis, I'll come. They send more messages, asking for details, the agenda, what to expect. I ignore them and send only the address. Nothing else. That afternoon, I call Nadia Price, our accountant. She's known our finances for 15 years, quiet, meticulous, and utterly trustworthy. Gordon, I've been waiting for this call. You knew about Scotland? Marian consulted me about account structures 3 years ago. She wanted to make sure certain assets were protected and that you had full control when the time came. Caroline tried to access accounts last year, didn't she? A pause. Yes, 3 times. She said you'd asked her to help, but I knew that wasn't true. I told her I needed your direct authorization. She became quite insistent. Did she threaten anything? She suggested that perhaps I didn't understand how elderly clients sometimes need family assistance. I reminded her that you were 61 at the time and perfectly capable. I smiled despite myself. Thank you. Gordon, Marian showed me some of the messages Caroline sent her about you, about how you needed managing. It worried her deeply. That's when she started planning. Planning the fortress. Exactly. That evening, I returned to the drawing room in the Scottish house. I place my notebook on the table, along with my phone and a small voice recorder I bought at an electronics shop in town. The notebook now has pages of notes, dates, quotes, screenshots described in careful handwriting. The phone has saved messages, videos, audio clips. The recorder is tested and ready. I open Marian's letter one more time. You were loyal when loyalty mattered. Time to see yourself clearly. I'm starting to. After 64 years of being Gordon Hale, the steady one, the quiet one, the one who never made waves, I'm finally understanding what Marian saw. Not weakness, not age, not someone who needed protecting, someone who deserved respect. And if respect wasn't given freely, it could be enforced by the structures she built. My phone buzzes. Caroline's message, we're booking flights tomorrow. This better be worth it. That house should be appraised at market value. We have plans. I don't reply. Instead, I check my calendar app. Tuesday is highlighted. Below the date, I type a simple note. The day they understand. The weekend passes slowly. I spend Saturday walking the village, learning the layout. nodding to locals who recognize me as Marian's husband. Sunday, I sit in the study and review everything: messages, videos, recordings, notes, building my case like I used to build foundations, methodical, layered, unshakable. On Monday, Fraser calls. Everything's in order for tomorrow. Alan and Nadia confirmed they'll be on video. Are you ready? As ready as I'll be. Remember what we discussed. Stay calm, present facts, let the structure do its work. I will. That evening, I cook a simple dinner in the Scottish house kitchen. It feels strange but right, using Marian's dishes, her pots and pans. She chose everything here, every detail thought through. My phone rings. It's Lewis. Dad, we're arriving tomorrow morning. Caroline wants to see the house before the meeting. The meeting is at 2 p.m. I know, but she's pretty worked up. She's been talking to estate agents, property developers. She has this whole plan for the place. What kind of plan? Lewis hesitates. Renovation, maybe selling. She thinks it could be worth a lot. Trevor's already done market research. I see. Dad, just go easy on her tomorrow, okay? She's stressed about money. Their business hasn't been doing well. This property could really help them. Help them? Yeah, you know, the family. I close my eyes. Lewis, whose property is this? Another pause. Well, technically yours, but it'll be ours someday, right? Caroline just wants to make sure it's managed well. I'll see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. I hang up before he can say more. Sleep doesn't come easily. I lie awake in the guest house bed, thinking about Lewis's words. It'll be ours someday. As if my life is just a waiting period before they inherit. As if I'm already gone, just haven't noticed yet. But I'm not gone. I'm here. And tomorrow, they'll understand that. Morning arrives cold and bright. I dress carefully, my good shirt, the jacket Marian bought me for our anniversary 2 years ago. I want to look like myself, not the confused old man they think I am. Just Gordon Hale, age 64, fully present and fully capable. At noon, I arrive at the Scottish house. Fraser is already there, setting up the drawing room. The laptop is positioned at the head of the table, camera angled to capture everyone. Documents in neat folders rest beside his chair. They'll try to control the narrative, Fraser says. Let them talk first, then we present. Understood. At 1:45, I hear car doors, voices, Caroline's laugh, bright and false. They enter through the front door without knocking. Dad! There you are! Caroline sweeps in, Trevor and Lewis behind her. She's dressed like she's going to a business meeting, sharp suit, heels clicking on the wooden floor. This place is gorgeous. The bones are incredible. Trevor, look at these ceilings. Trevor is already photographing everything with his phone. Original features, very marketable. We'd need to update the kitchen, obviously, but we're not here to discuss renovations, I say quietly. Of course not, Dad. Caroline's smile doesn't waver, but it doesn't hurt to think ahead, right? They follow me to the drawing room. Fraser stands, introduces himself formally. On the laptop screen, Alan Kerr and Nadia Price appear, settling into their respective cameras. We take our seats, Caroline and Trevor on one side, Lewis beside them, looking uncomfortable, me at the far end, Fraser at the head. Thank you all for coming, Fraser begins. We're here to explain the arrangements Marian Hale put in place regarding this property and related assets. Great. Trevor pulls out his own laptop. I've prepared some valuation estimates and property management options. That won't be necessary. Fraser's voice is polite but firm. Please let me finish. Caroline's smile tightens, but she nods. Fraser continues. The house and certain linked accounts are held in a trust structure. Gordon is the primary decision-maker during his lifetime. The trust includes protective provisions based on family behavior and respect for Gordon's autonomy. I'm sorry, what? Caroline leans forward. Protective provisions? Marian was concerned about pressure and manipulation, Alan says from the screen. She created safeguards. Pressure, Caroline laughs. We're his children, we love him, we're trying to help. Marian documented her concerns, Nadia adds quietly. Over several years. The room shifts. I can feel it, the air getting heavier. What does that mean? Trevor demands. What concerns? I reach for my phone. She wasn't the only one documenting things. I place my phone on the table, screen facing up. Over the past few weeks, I've been paying attention, keeping records. Would you like to hear? Caroline's face changes, just slightly, a flicker of uncertainty. I press play on the first audio file, the kitchen conversation from 3 weeks ago, when they thought I was in the garden. Trevor's voice, tinny but clear through the phone speaker. He's easy to manage. Just keep telling him it's for his own good. Caroline. Once we get control of the accounts, we can make better decisions. He won't even notice. The drawing room is absolutely silent. Louis has gone pale. That's... Caroline starts, then stops. That's out of context. Is it? I play the next clip. Caroline on the phone with someone. Dad's getting worse. We need to lock things down before he does something stupid with that Scottish nonsense. Stop. Trevor's voice is sharp. This is inappropriate. You're recording private conversations. In my own home, I interrupt, where you were discussing taking control of my life. I pull up screenshots on my phone, turn the screen toward them. This is from your family group chat. Trevor's message about having me checked out by a doctor if I don't cooperate. Caroline's reply confirming you have that option. Louis stares at the screen, recognition dawning. I sent you that by accident. I know. Dad, we were just worried. Caroline begins. About money, I finish. Not about me. Louis told me last night. Your business isn't doing well. You see this house as a solution to your financial problems. Trevor slams his hand on the table. That's not fair. We've been trying to help you. Have you? I open the doorbell camera app, pull up the saved video. This is from last week. That's you, Caroline and Trevor, inside my house in England. While I was here. Using the emergency key to search through my private papers. On the laptop screen, Alan makes a note. Nadia's expression is carefully neutral, but I see approval in her eyes. Caroline stands abruptly. We were checking if you'd paid your bills, making sure everything was in order. You were looking for bank statements and property documents. I keep my voice level. The camera footage is very clear about which drawers you opened. This is entrapment, Trevor says. You set us up. No. Fraser's voice cuts through. Gordon documented behavior that was already occurring. Behavior that Marian predicted and protected against. He opens his portfolio, removes several pages. Marian's trust includes very specific clauses. If family members attempt to manipulate, pressure, or declare Gordon incompetent without genuine medical cause, defined as agreement from at least 2 independent physicians who have examined him in person, those family members are automatically removed as beneficiaries. You can't do that. Caroline's professional mask shatters completely. That's our inheritance. Mum wouldn't. Mum did, I say quietly. She watched you, Caroline. For years. She saw how you talked to me, over me, about me. She saw Trevor pushing you to treat me like an inconvenience instead of your father. That's not true. She showed me messages, Nadia says from the screen. Messages you sent her, Caroline, complaining about how Gordon didn't understand modern finance, how he was stuck in the past and needed professional management. You asked her to convince him to sign power of attorney over to you. Caroline sits down heavily. I was trying to help. You were trying to take control, Alan corrects. There's a difference. Marian saw that difference very clearly. Fraser continues, his voice steady and professional. The trust structure gives Gordon full authority to make adjustments within certain parameters. Those parameters allow him to redirect assets away from beneficiaries who demonstrate the specific behaviors Marian feared: manipulation, disrespect, treatment of Gordon as incompetent, and attempts to access or control assets without his explicit consent. "What does that mean?" Lewis asks, his voice small. "Redirect where?" "To causes Marian cared about," I answer. "Education programs, literacy initiatives, organizations that help women build financial independence." I pause. "And potentially to family members who demonstrate genuine respect and rebuild damaged relationships." Trevor's face has gone red. "This is blackmail." "No," Fraser says calmly. "This is protection. Marian built a structure that rewards respect and penalizes manipulation. Gordon is simply using the authority she gave him." I pull out my notebook, the pages filled with my careful handwriting. I documented everything. Every time Caroline made decisions for me without asking. Every time Trevor referred to my assets as family resources he should manage. Every dismissive comment. Every eye roll. Every time you spoke about me like I wasn't in the room. I slide the notebook across the table toward them. It's all there: dates, times, exact quotes. I might be 64, but my memory is excellent. Engineering requires attention to detail. Caroline reaches for the notebook, flips through it. Her hands are shaking. "You were spying on us." "I was protecting myself. Marian told me to. She said don't trust anyone, not even my own children. I didn't want to believe her." I look at each of them, but she was right. "Dad, please." Lewis finally speaks, his voice cracking. "We made mistakes, but we're family. You can't just cut us out." "I'm not cutting you out, Lewis. I'm setting boundaries. For the first time in your adult life, I'm telling you that my dignity matters. That I deserve respect, not management." Fraser produces more documents, spreading them across the table. These are summaries of the trust terms. I'll explain the key points. First, the Scottish property. It's held in trust with Gordon as the primary beneficiary and decision-maker during his lifetime. He can live here, rent it, sell it, or keep it empty. His choice entirely. Second, linked accounts. Marian moved certain assets into structures that protect them from claims of family entitlement. These accounts fund Gordon's living expenses, healthcare, and personal choices. No one else has access or authority. Third, inheritance provisions. Upon Gordon's passing, assets will be distributed according to the trust terms. However, those terms include modification clauses. Based on documented behavior patterns, Gordon can adjust distributions within defined limits. Trevor interrupts. "How much are we talking about?" Fraser looks at him coolly. "That's between Gordon and his advisors." "We have a right to know," Trevor starts. "No," Alan says from the screen. "You don't. The assets belong to Gordon. Marian ensured he has full control and full privacy. Your entitlement begins only after his passing, and only if the trust terms allow it." Nadia leans into her camera. "I can confirm that Caroline made 3 separate attempts to access account information she wasn't authorized for. When I refused, she suggested I didn't understand family dynamics and implied I was being obstructive. I documented every interaction." Caroline's face is white. "I was trying to help Dad organize his finances." "Without his knowledge or consent," Nadia finishes. "That's not help. That's overreach." I stand, walk to the window. Outside, the Scottish hills are gray-green under cloudy skies. Sheep dot the distant fields. It's peaceful here. Marian chose well. "I gave you everything," I say, not turning around. "Every opportunity, every advantage. I worked double shifts to pay for your universities. I went without so you could have. I never asked for gratitude, but I deserved respect." "Dad," Caroline's voice breaks. "Let me finish." I turn back to face them. "You stopped seeing me as your father years ago. I became a problem to solve. An old man who didn't understand the modern world. someone who needed managing. That's not, Trevor begins. It is. I cut him off. Trevor, you told Caroline last month that I was past my prime and needed gentle supervision. I heard you. Trevor's jaw works silently. Lewis, you laughed. You thought it was funny when Trevor joked about my senior moments. You never once told them to stop. Lewis looks at his hands, shame coloring his face. And Caroline. I look at my daughter. You organized Marian's memorial like a corporate event. You cut my speech short because I was getting emotional about losing my wife of 40 years. You changed her hymn. Caroline's eyes are shining with tears. I was trying to make it easier for you. No. You were taking control. Because that's what you do. Fraser clears his throat gently. Gordon, would you like to state your decision? I return to my seat at the table. My hands are steady. My voice is calm. I'm using the authority Marian gave me to adjust the trust terms. Caroline and Trevor are removed as primary beneficiaries of the Scottish property and linked accounts. Those assets will be directed to the educational and literacy programs Marian supported. Caroline makes a sound like she's been struck. Lewis, you're included on a conditional basis. If, over the next year, you demonstrate genuine respect and rebuild our relationship, a portion remains available to you. But that's your choice. How much? Trevor demands. How much are you giving away? That's not your concern anymore. This is insane. Trevor stands, his face flushed. You're letting paranoia destroy your family. Sit down. Fraser's voice is sharp. You're speaking about Gordon's late wife, and you'll do so respectfully or leave. Trevor sits, but his anger fills the room. Alan speaks from the screen. For clarity, these adjustments are completely within the trust terms Marian established. Gordon isn't breaking any legal framework. He's using the authority explicitly granted to him. Can we contest this? Caroline asks, her voice dull. You can try, Fraser says. But the trust was prepared by 3 separate solicitors over 2 years. You'd be wasting time and money. Plus, Nadia adds, any formal challenge would require demonstrating that Gordon lacks capacity to make decisions. Given the evidence he's presented today, that claim would fail immediately. Trevor pulls out his phone. I'm calling our lawyer. Go ahead, I say. But first, let me show you one more thing. I open my email, pull up a draft I prepared yesterday. This is a letter to Mrs. Peterman, my neighbor, and to the Riverside Community Center where Marian worked. It details what happened at her memorial, how Caroline took over and cut my speech short. I haven't sent it yet. Caroline's face goes even paler. You wouldn't. I don't want to, but if you make this ugly, if you try to drag this through courts and paint me as incompetent, I'll defend myself. With facts. With evidence. That would embarrass us, Trevor says flatly. Yes, it would. I close the email. So here's what happens now. You leave. You accept the trust terms. You stop treating me like I'm helpless. And maybe, if you learn something from this, we can rebuild something real. The room is silent except for the faint sound of rain starting against the windows. Caroline stands slowly. I can't believe Mum did this. Believe it, I say. She loved you. But she loved me more. And she was tired of watching you forget that I mattered. They leave without saying goodbye. I watch from the window as they load into their rental car, Caroline in the passenger seat with her face in her hands, Trevor driving with rigid shoulders. Lewis looks back at the house once before getting in. The car disappears down the lane. Fraser begins packing his documents. That was remarkably well handled, Gordon. Marian taught me that. Measure twice, cut once. On the laptop screen, Alan speaks. Gordon, the legal documentation will be filed this week. You'll receive copies of everything. If Caroline or Trevor attempt to challenge, contact me immediately. Thank you, Alan, for keeping Marian's secrets all this time. It was an honor. She was very clear about protecting you. Nadia adjusts her camera. Gordon, I'm updating your account access information. New passwords, new security questions. Caroline won't be able to attempt access anymore. I appreciate that. After they disconnect, Fraser lingers at the door. What will you do now? I don't know yet. Maybe stay here for a while. Maybe go home. Maybe both. Marian gave you choices. That was the point. Yes, she did. Fraser leaves, and I'm alone in the Scottish house. The drawing room still smells faintly of rain and tension. I gather my notebook, my phone, the recorder, evidence I hope I'll never need again. In the study upstairs, I sit at Marian's desk. The photos on the wall chronicle our 40 years, young and hopeful, middle-aged and tired, older and comfortable. In every picture, she's looking at me with the same expression. Love, yes, but also certainty. She knew. Even back in 1985, when she made that bet, she knew I'd need this someday. My phone buzzes, a text from Lewis. Dad, I'm sorry for all of it. Can we talk next week? I stare at the message for a long moment, then type back, yes, call me Tuesday. It's not much, but it's something. Outside, the rain has stopped. Evening light breaks through the clouds, turning the hills gold. I open the window and breathe in the cold Scottish air. For the first time in months, maybe years, I feel like myself. Not old Gordon who needs help. Not confused Gordon who can't manage. Just Gordon Hale, who built things that lasted, who kept his promises, who loved his wife for 40 years and was loved back just as fiercely. I won the bet. And the impossible gift wasn't just the house or the trust or the protection. It was permission to see my own worth. I walk through the room slowly, touching walls, testing floorboards, checking window latches. Old habits from my engineering days. Everything is solid. Everything is sound. Marian built well, just like I taught her. In the kitchen, I find tea and biscuits Iona must have left. I make a cup and sit at the small table, watching darkness settle over the village. Tomorrow, I'll decide what comes next. Tonight, I just sit with the quiet. My phone shows 17 new messages. I silence it without reading them. The house creaks and settles around me. Familiar sounds, even though I've only been here days. It feels right. Like coming home to a place I didn't know I'd been missing. 40 years, one bet, one impossible gift, and finally, after everything, the freedom to just be myself. Morning comes clear and cold in the Scottish house Marian prepared for me. Lavender in the sheets, the quiet kitchen, toast and eggs, simple, familiar things she and I once shared on slow Sunday mornings. My phone is full of messages from Caroline, Trevor, even Lewis. I ignore them. First coffee, first the morning. At 9, Fraser calls. Trust modifications are filed, everything's official. You're protected. I thank him. He adds, Marian left a letter, study desk, bottom drawer, behind the files, said you'd know when to read it. After we hang up, I find the envelope easily, my name in her handwriting. My darling Gordon. If you're reading this, you did it. You stood up. You saw yourself clearly. I'm proud. The house is yours. The peace is yours. The rest of your life is yours. Don't waste it being who they wanted. Be who you are. I love you. Always. You won. Marian. I fold the letter and slip it into my pocket. Downstairs, the Scottish morning hits me. Bright, sharp, alive. Hills rolling in every direction, a distant engine on the lane. Maybe Iona heading into the village. My phone buzzes again. Caroline, Trevor, relentless as always. I switch it off completely and pocket it. Their noise is no longer my problem. The house behind me is locked. Everything Marian built, everything she protected, now fully mine. I walk down the path toward the village, breathing deeply, feeling each step lighten something inside me. For decades I carried their expectations, their complaints, their entitlement. I kept peace, held futures together, gave until there was nothing left for myself. And now? Now I just walk. The pub will open soon. Maybe I'll have lunch. Maybe I'll talk to Iona about the village archives. Maybe I'll sit in the square and watch the day unfold without anyone telling me what I should be doing. Behind me, Marian's house stands solid on the hill, a quiet fortress of loyalty and love. Ahead, the road stretches out, open, uncomplicated, finally mine. I smile,